Hi folks. Interesting topic today. There has been a dramatic shift in market dynamics post 2010. Bar chart shows you the percentage of time spent in a bear market. So in the 1980s, percentage was 14% only. So 80s was a very dramatic decade where India really, a lot of MNCs were there and India was doing all right. And then towards the end of 80s is where the trouble started. We had the early problem in 1991, and then gold was hypothecated and India was in a crisis, and then the license Raj and the opening up of the country happened, and then the Russian Mehta bull rally happened. Despite all that, only 14% of time was spent in a bear market. So basically, bear market being defined as whenever markets are down 20% from the top or lower, that is being defined as a bear market. In the 1990s, that number went to 52%, largely because we had a huge run at the beginning of the decade, 1992, and then the entire decade we could not take out that top virtually. In the 2000s, again the dot-com boom happened, and early 2000 we had some peak and markets cratered after that, and then 2003-4 onwards we went down to 2008, and then we again crashed, and 9 and 10 were down. 51% of the time was spent in bear market. Then came 2010s where market was more shallow. It did not hit any major peaks before 2015-16, shallow peaks, and then we had a 17-18 drawdown, and then 20 was down again. Only 6% of time was spent in a bear market. So far in the 2020s, we've had only 4%. So practically 96% times you can say the markets are in fair fettle. There's no real problem within 20% range of the market, and only 4% of the time is market really in a constrained space. So this actually tells us that in the last 15 odd years, very little bear market time has been seen by market players. So if 15 years of market time, and let's say a person comes to the market at the age of 25, that is early also, but let's say average age 25. So anybody who is 40 years or less has not seen the real bear markets. They have not lived through markets when they go through years and years of pain. They've only seen 6% and 4% in the last 2 decades. Anybody who's less than roughly 40 years of age, and those who are more, of course, have seen the 1990s and the 2000s. So there has been a dramatic shift. Now whether that shift is largely permanent going forward or not is nobody's call. That, of course, time will tell whether this is a permanent shift, that we are in a fiat run world where every time the market will have is any problem, that the only solution is to print more money and then to artificially sort of pump the market. The liquidity injections in the 2008 and continuing till 2020, and then a more massive liquidity boost in 2020 has ensured that markets don't go down. I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.